This is TVXYZ, and I'm sure the traditional songs you heard at the background gives you an indication that we are not in our studios. Actually, today we are at the Osu Manches Secretariat. That's where we want to have our conversation tonight. Osu comes across as a town which has a lot of influence on Ghana's political, religious history. Osu, as we speak, has also been the seat of government right from the days that Ghanaians, those days in Gold Coast, were struggling to gain independence for us. And today, as we speak, the effigies of those who were shot, unfortunately, in the struggle that later heralded the agitations for independence are right here in Osu. Osu, again, is also the seat of many government offices. But Osu Traditional Council itself isn't that big, small enclave, but very powerful. We are privileged to engage the Osu Manche. We are on his land, and so we pay homage to him. And as the people of Osu are celebrating their Homowo festival, Ideas Exchange finds it fit to engage the Osu Manche. He is His Majesty Tetete Ni Note Owo the Fourth, and he's known in private life as Mr. Nicholas Ni Note Owo. He's the grandson of the 17th Osu Manche Ni Noi Owo II, a product of Infantipim School, a product of CAF University. Is also with the Bridge Division of the Ghana Highway Authority. Tonight, we want to have a better appreciation of Osu and how significant it is as we see ourselves collectively as people under one umbrella called Ghana. Good evening again, and thanks for your time and the privilege you've given us on TVXYZ. Ni.
Good evening, and thanks for the honor.
Good. Now, let's look at Osu. When we talk about Osu, many see it as a small traditional area.
First of all, I'd like to say that the people of Osu migrated from Osudoku. But before Osudoku, as you know, the history of the Ghans, we come from Israel, through to Sudan, Nigeria, through to Benin, Togo, before we got to Ghana. So at first, when we came, we were living at Osudoku, that's around the Shai Doku area. Our ancestors were there before one Noe, Peneku, who was then the Naduwolomo, started the journey from that place to Osu. On his way, he passed out at Kwabinya, and then one, that's the sister, took over. And then after, the sister also passed down, and then Note Doku took the people from Kwabinya and then brought them to the castle. That's our current settlement. So Osu, as a route, and I could say that Osu is not just here, but the people of Osu, where I've showed you, as they were coming, it took them so many years. The historical voyage, that's the journey, started somewhere 1590. And then along the line, when they get to a location, they stay there for a while before they continue. And that is how we got our villages. So we could see that Osu stayed at Kwabinya for a while. And then we share boundary with the Bese. But historically and traditionally, from the Gulf of Guinea, that's the coastal. Osu shares boundary on the east side with La. And then our demarcation is from the river then known as Benesu River. And this river cuts across from La, between Osula to the airport tarmac to Shiashin. And this is where Osu and La separate. And then from there, it continues on that main road, that's the Dodowa Road that they used to call it. And that takes you straight to Ayi Mesa. And that's where Osu and Labadi has their boundary. On the west side, we share boundary with Bese. That's right after the art center. There was a river called Dodokwe, and that is what divides Osu and then Bese. And that river takes you straight to Kokomemle, through Achimota, through Kwabenya, and then to the top. That's where I can say Dinkrevi. So this is the stretch of Osu.
It's interesting to know because when many people hear Osu and Osu Traditional Council, many people would have thought that it is just the name Osu. Even as far as the airport tarmac and the Shiashi areas, most of those communities fall within your jurisdiction. But if you go back into the books and you read the history, you get the perception that Osu didn't have it easy, or the people of Osu, they didn't have it easy moving all along from Israel through Ethiopia, some parts of Mali, and then they got to this place. You engaged in wars. Now, when you settled around the today Christian Borg Castle, we understand that you had confrontations with the Kwamus. At a point, you also had confrontations with the British over the poll task.
We stayed here, other people, other tribes joined us. We had battles, like you said, but the people of Osu, that is the Nadu descendants, knew what they were and they knew where they were going. We did not fight mostly with the people, but then we lay alliance with them, and then they joined us to build our traditional setup today. Because it's in Osu that you find the other settlements, that's the Osualata, which has a composition of Akwamus people. And then we have the Osu Ashente, that's also joined hands with the Osu. But we did not get it easy. We know we've come a long way. But successfully, we build Osu with the other tribes. And we will say that we are grateful for everybody who joined us to build Osu. But in the past, we've had so many challenges in the sense that people have taken advantage of Osu because the leadership of Osu for the past years has not been doing well. And both individuals, some indigenous of Osu, conniving with other people to destabilize Osu.
I understand that there were attempts by the colonial masters to force the people of Osu or the traditional authorities to accept poll tax. That didn't materialize. And when they started bombarding the communities because the people of Osu had besieged the castle in protest, many people moved to today Mamombi, Nima, Mateheko, Kotobabi, and so on. Can you clarify this briefly for us?
There was a time the colonial masters wanted to introduce a poll tax, like you said, we call Lampo. And then the people of Osu said they will not pay. So due to that, there was a bombardment. And then the people had to move away from Osu. Some went to stay at Acho, Abokobi. But originally, these places were Osuland, because when they were coming from the Osudoku, that is where they passed. And, you know, in a journey, you know, it takes so many years.
And so some remain, some move on.
So as we were coming, some had to stay back because some would get pregnant on the way. Some had challenges. We had people who were old, they have to stay back. So this is how we got our villages. So when the colonial masters bombarded Osu, we have to move back to the places.
Let's look at Osu, which has been the seat of government right from the struggle through independence to Kwame Nkrumah's days till 2013, when they even had to relocate the office of the president from the Osu Castle to today's Jubilee House, I believe, may still be within your jurisdiction. But if you look at Osu clearly, there is this picture of the indigents who are living on one part of Osu which appears to be underdeveloped, and then one other part of Osu which is more cosmopolitan, that is from the Oxford stretch towards the Parliament Enclave and so on. When you reflect on these as an indigent, what pinches your heart?
When we got here, that's the coastal side, there was one Wulomo who was called Teno. He was then the Osu Wulomo, that's the number 6 Wulomo. And he had challenges with the other people. So what he decided to do was that there was Asunweni, who was then working at the castle. He is a native of Akwemu. So Teno and Asunweni went to Akwemu to learn how to practice the kingship. Because when we came originally, we were not practicing the kingship. And when you look back, or you read the Bible, you could see that the people of Israel in the Bible were practicing the chief priest leadership before they started the kingship leadership. And that was the same trend Osu went through. So when he returned from Akwemu with the blacks to Senkwame, he created a mantra. And today in the history of Ghana, Ghana is on our seat. And the meaning of a mantra means that I'm on mine better. And today Ghana is sitting on Osu. The seat of government is in Osu. All the government offices and all the embassies and everything are in Osu. But the people of Osu are not benefiting. We give our lands to the Europeans to develop. We have the European extension, we have the cantonment, and those things were given so that those areas will be developed. But I want to assure you that we know Osu had gone through turbulent times due to chieftaincy disputes, people who are not true royals want to sit on the throne, and that has created a lot of problems. We know there are other difficulties that we've gone through. That's through the political system. They have not been fair to Osu because Osu deserves better. But I want to assure the people of Osu that my reign as Osu, the indigents, that's the Osu down that they know, will now, in the few years to come, will start looking like cantonment, the Roman regions, the Jowul, and those places.
Now, we will look at your plan for the development or for the upliftment of some of the communities you've just mentioned to create opportunities for the youth. But when you look at the deprived part of Osu, where we call the beachfront, from the castle through that enclave towards the Labadi Beach, that Labadi Polyclinic area where the boundary is, you'd realize that most of those areas are not well endowed. And it is the same enclaves that we find havens for misfits in society, people into drugs or promiscuity and so on. Now, does it hurt you that the future leaders, the future indigents, are exposed to some of these challenges?
I would say yes and no. Yes, in the sense that we know our town is deprived. We know by now Osu should be developed, but we know the challenges we are going through. That's why Osu is not developing. I think no, because our political leaders have not helped us. On my throne, I have a mission and an agenda for the people of Osu. And my mission is centered on the 3 R's. The 3 R's means that to reform, to reconcile, and then to reform Osu. With a reform, we know we have the Osu Stool, that's Osu Traditional Council. We have the Osu Manchester, we have the Osu Wolomot Stool, and all those institutions. We are going to reform those institutions so that will make Osu a better place. And then secondly, to reconcile. We know there are chieftaincy disputes all over Osu, and not Osu alone, on the Gan State. And that's my priority, to reconcile, to set up a commission, reconciliation commission, to delve into all these chieftaincy disputes so that will bring a lasting solution to our dispute. But we know when we are dispute-free, Osu will develop. And then with the 3rd R is the restructure. With the restructure, we are going to develop the Osu Traditional Council. That's Osu Stool. All the areas that fall under the Osu Traditional Council will be invited to join so that we'll build Osu and we'll build Osu proper.
That looks exciting, and some would say ambitious, even though the potentials are there, because if you look at all these facilities sitting on your land that your forefathers gave out in goodwill for the development of the capital city, Accra, and eventually it appears as if the land space left for the indigents has become small, yet the population is growing. What perhaps you can do is to hope that you get enough royalties to be able to build those areas. How are you carefully handling this issue that has been a challenge for the Osu still over the past 40, 50?
The biggest challenge in Osu is the chieftaincy dispute. And every government or leader of this country would like to recognize the rightful person to deal with in terms of Osu. And that's where we are now. And I believe that when we are able to solve our chieftaincy disputes, like I said, then our royalties that we know we have, because those lands were given out, and we have documents to prove that we gave those lands for development. And in giving those lands, we know there will be a return, and those returns will be royalties and then funds to help us develop Osu. And I believe that when we finish with the dispute, in the next few years, Osu will take over.
This is Ideas Exchange, and tonight we are doing this conversation from the Secretariat of the Osu Manche. His Majesty Teteteni Norte Owo the Fourth. Our conversation has centered on the background history of the people of Osu. We have looked at Osu, the good sides, the bad sides being the indigents who have not had much in terms of development, even though Osu has been the seat of government over the years. The explanation has been the divisions over the years, which the politicians have taken advantage of, therefore depriving Osu, especially the indigents, the aspect that will help them to see improvement in their lifestyles. We've also heard Tetete say, for example, that because Osu people embraced other, especially foreigners, to see to the development of the area, you will see many of them who have become part of the economy of Osu. Now, I have been going through this document I chanced down from your office, and it talks about 10-year development agenda dubbed New Dawn, New Generation. And under this, I see infrastructure development. So I see ultra-modern Osu Traditional Council office complex. I see Clote Lagoon area to be developed into a beach resort. And then I see ultra-modern hospital. I see the rebuilding of the Osu night market and so on. It looks like a huge project. Is it not too ambitious?
Not at all. Like you said, Osu is big. Osu is the seat of government. Osu has a lot of royalties. Osu is rich. We are going to unearth those riches because for the past years, we've not seen those riches. But I believe that through my tenure as Osu Manche, those riches will surface and the people of Osu will benefit from those riches. So these projects are nothing that we cannot do.
So is it an initiative you want to embark on in collaboration with government support? Because some of them obviously would need government input. For example, even though the traditional council can develop the Osu night market, for example, I believe that some of these may be done in collaboration with the assembly or government as an institution. Is that the plan?
Municipal Assembly, which also falls under the Clote Municipal Assembly. We are going to have partnership with them on those projects that you've seen. And we believe that we are going to push forward the programs and we will present the designs to them and then we'll collaborate with them and then we'll invite investors because we know we can't do it all. We need people from outside to bring funds to come in and develop our town for us. So these projects are feasible and can be done.
You are very optimistic.
Sure, because when you go down to the Osu downtown, they'll tell you, we've not seen development for the past years because of the chieftaincy dispute. But I believe that we will resolve the chieftaincy dispute, which I believe is not anything that cannot be solved because we have structures, we have institutions when there's a new chief or when we have to install a chief. So when we are able to resolve all these problems, we know Osu will take a good food.
Education is key. And for those of us who have offices within your jurisdiction, we see you as our landlord. Now, for those of us in the media, we know much about the deprivation along the coastal area where many people don't have the best of education, either because of poverty or neglect or teenage pregnancies and so on, affecting a lot of young people whose future could be jeopardized. What strategies do you have in place to lift up or create opportunities for them as far as education is concerned?
Like you said, Osu, when it comes to education in Ghana, people of Osu are well educated in the past. And now, that's why, as part of the UMO activities, we are introducing an educational quiz for the JSS schools. And we have selected 4 schools that will take part in this competition. And as part of the prizes, the Osu school, in collaboration with a group that is organizing the quiz, some of the winners will be taken care of by the Osu school. That is, we are going to give educational scholarship to the best students from the quiz, so that we will take care of them, so that they will grow and one day come to serve the Osu.
In some traditional areas, one concern is about children who are not in school. So either early childhood centers or educational funds and so on. Is it something on your agenda?
Sure. On the educational front, we have an agenda. The agenda is to build a early childhood education, to build an ultramodern library for the kids, and then establish an educational fund. In our history as Osu, there was a time that we had a Ninwo the first, and that gave birth to the Dawona. And in the memory of Ninwo the first, we are going to establish an educational fund that will be named Ninwo Memorial Foundation. And that establishment, the educational fund, in the future transaction of Osu, any property or royalties that will come to the Osu, 10% of that royalties will go into the fund, and that fund will be used to give scholarship to our children, from the primary to the university level. And also we have another agenda, which is the Osu Skill Improvement Initiative. Those who have dropped out from school, from the GSS, who cannot continue, we know there are other things that we can do for them. That's a vocational and technical. And under this program, which is already, we have the document already, but very soon we'll launch those documents. People will be taken care of, especially if you want to learn fitting. They have garages in Osu. We will engage them and then put those people in those trades, so that when they finish from those training, then automatically they have something to do.
Okay, so now let's move on to why we wanted to have a bigger conversation with you. The Osu Traditional Council is celebrating the Homowo Festival. And we believe that a number of activities we have seen suggest that they form part of the strategy you have adopted to unite the people and, of course, to whip up interest, those home and abroad, towards the general improvement of the lives of the people. This year's Homowo will be the first under your jurisdiction as the Osu Manche. How unique have you planned the activities?
In the Bible, there was farming. That's the same history about the people of Osu. There was farming. The people prayed to God so that they plant their maize, and then they had abundant food. So more is a hooting at hunger, and that is where we are now. So as part of the Omoho Festival, we have outlined programs that we are going to take part to celebrate the occasion. The activities had already started. First, we start with the Abashi, and then after that, there was...
When you say Abashi, what does it mean?
Yes, Abashing is the beginning process of the planting of the millet. So that takes off a week after, then we'll do the planting of the millet. And then 21 days after planting, then we harvest the millet. So now we have done that, and then we have done also the yam festival for the stools and then the goat. That is the clote goat. And then currently, we've done with all these activities. We are yet to enter into the Omoho activities proper. And then the Omoho, this year Omoho, because that's my maiden Omoho celebration, we have 2 activities. That's the traditional and then the youth. And then the youth has programs that comprises of the...
What I've seen is you have football gala, you have Jama competition, educational quiz, and then the boxing night, cycling race, most of these activities, including the 2022 Miss Osu Beauty Pageant. All these are part of the activities that we have seen. But I want to go back to the traditional and the youth. When you say the traditional aspect of Homowo, how exciting is it? Because many people tie some of these festivities to tourism. And I don't think Osu has marketed your Homowo that much. Is it what you want to project?
We know, like I already said, our problem is a dispute, but we are praying that we'll resolve this dispute to promote our Omo Festival. This year, Omo Festival will start, that's the 20th. The 20th is a visit to the Osu Royal Museum to go and clean the museums. You know, trees are grown, we have to cut them so that when we finish, that will be on Sunday. And then after the Sunday, the Monday before the Omo Tuesday, we have an activity called Suntan. And then the meaning of the Suntan is welcome. We are welcoming all also indigenes and then people from the diaspora who are coming to celebrate the Omo with us. So that will be on the Monday, and it's called Suntan. And then Tuesday is the Omo proper, and that is the sprinkling of the Omo Popo, is the welcoming, that's the homecoming. And due to through today's activity, there's going to be a procession, and the youth, including those who are coming, will march on the streets, and they will be carrying the foodstuffs that will be used for the Omo, the maize, the tomatoes, and to showcase. And the purpose, like I said, homecoming. Those people who are in the villages are coming with these foodstuffs, and this is where we'll be showcasing to show the people that this is the things that is used to prepare our Omo Okweple.
We'll be taking a short break. When we come back, we want to look at how the Osu Manches Palace want to actively engage the indigenous, particularly the youth, in this year's activities.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. we can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Nyansa Shase, Oni Nyamisro. Power 97.9 FM for the Wisdom Summit 2022. Abobasi. Watun Safre. Reverend D.Y. Donko. Counselor Donko. Reverend Dr. Charlotte Odro. Safumami Counselor Bako Pe. Dr. Eugene Ba. Oye Embryologist. Na Elder Dr. Nana Amo Toby. Chairman of Tobinko Group of Company. Onusuri Baby. Wisdom Summit 2022. Eye Power 97.9 FM. Majumezini Sinanano Dunoru host here. Ajimani Awani. Osu Presbyterian Church Auditorium. A hot noye venue. 10 a.m. And apartment bro unitime. Neas Jumezino Ashishano. Saturday, 20th August 2022. Isaiah 33 verse 6. It will be the sure foundation of your time. Yes, artist your Celestine Donko. Sepade impartation wusunya be a Wisdom Summit yasa. 9 day ever send attend. Ezako number yido 0248 712812. A Sunday yana ya reserve wusi tamo.
Wo pese wo sponsor Wisdom Summit 2022 fre 0554 343 167 0554 343 167.
Hey, Wisdom Summit. Nyasa wa warimu. Nyasa wa apomudimu. Nyasa wa yeyomu. Wisdom Summit. Nyasa wa wompenetwimu.
Welcome to Auto Check Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure. Emission, check.
Alignment, check.
Brakes, check. Visit AutoChecks at Koforodia Aquadrum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much. Auto checks. Check.
AutoChecks, your safety, our priority.
AutoChecks.
If I cry na menyisika, edia ye mefui.
Ehin fa na menya bosia, edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre, miye busia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamu akwa baba Sohum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekuokuro bosia, susu account. And it does wɔ hɔ savings account. Me bada chain savings account. And the keka ho. Sohum Rural Bank was 03422919896. Na won so wetu mi aka sɛ.
Sohum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka ona.
Sohum Rural Bank. Enti me pa minie.
Me damwase.
Sohum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
This is TVXYZ. Tete Ni Note Owo the fourth, and he is my guest tonight on Ideas Exchange. You have incorporated the youth in this year's Homo. How active do you want to see them involved in this?
First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to the youth of Osu. I would say today, for me to be in Osu Manche, they played a bigger role. They showed to everybody that we have a Manche of our own, and then we are installing this Manche. Thank you so much, Osu Youth. As part of the MO, we have the youth programs, which is comprises of a football gala, and then we have the educational quiz. We have a drama competition, and then we have a cycling, racing. We also have the Miss Osu beauty pageant and other activities. Emambi Osubi Omo Neji Afi ni obaye ni wontawo ni nyefe nyekenya awome. Benyi edumon se ni awome manche alo atomi manche nakano mito nyekenye wale awo Osu Omo ne ni obaye afi ne no njegbe mfe programs ni ebahani youth nyekenya awome jogba kenkle no ji Wogala competition. Ni Wogala ne wala keshi so traditionally where quarters niji ejwe niji the traditional quarters of Osu. When yen kanwe ashinte alata kaneho ne ken quarters ejwe ne nyebashi akan niji football gala ni kewo gbena wobaha prizes ke trophy. None woni what feel ne ken akan shine very important. Wala ke Osubi lebotra was small ball. Ni kami ake manche yosu ake mafe football academy niji wafe team naturally Osu Christabok FC wala ke neke engagement ne no ba wawo koni wose wonye woke build what team koni waya wo here no niji enyo woye cleaning exercise niji no mo ofe mo nakake junction asani mambie fe awa niji hall before ba you mo Tuesday ute titre nyebo mode nyekenye walo womi kuni wo clean ma fe fale kuni ma ache dani woyi umho no neke otine wo ba fe on the 20th of August neji Saturday we start keje lebi keje 6 ke ya before no ba jomo fe hie wo program komeko no lo chole health work ke medical screening neke health work ni asani wona wo be a fitness niji mambie ni ba yomo sani wona ke yes nye gbomo choiwale agbona nye fit for more no lebi energy on the 13th of August Saturday lebi abaya outwork niji oblanye ba shiaku kwanye mami.
The youth having a feel that our leaders have not done that much. Do you have any assurance for them that under your 10-year development plan, some of the things you have mentioned would actually come to light, and even if you are going to prioritize them?
The youth of Osu, I know so much that you have confidence in me. because not today, and that started far back in 2007 when you supported my agenda to try and resolve the Osu chieftaincy dispute. You supported me then, and during the time of my installment, you played a bigger role. That's the youth of Osu. If it had not been you, we wouldn't have gotten to where we are now. I want to assure all of you, I came because of you. I have good programs for the youth. I have an agenda for the youth that will change and transform Osu. We can do it. People have done it before. Osu youth, oblaye, ke oblaye, oblanta fe, minda nyeshi. Beni chonye ni yue, nke nye dumonse, eche, je mwene, nye lemihu, nye lentena, nye lakemba. Ni mahani ma, wo yute, wo life achake. Wo lake for so many years, nye be trust, ye traditional setup, niji Osu, mancheme ke man unukwae, mi Kenya keshi, imba ni imba ne, nyebana trust, mi imba, ni wofien woke yo yacha, ale woko pancha, ni wotwa Osu eke manchi juba, wala eke wotwa Osu eke manchi, je wo, she won't to ake manchi, can have, be enough foko, because Kengmene was sacrifice, ni wenye was Osu ke manchi, be enough foko, was amabake o, inche, alo inni, alo yanke, amenami ando swe machi. Ni mi asho nyake, baba no. Je dumanse, emo ke ili nye yo nye, nakanye ke supporte no hami. Wafi Osu ojuba. Ni ma, ibajole. Ni ma baye nye.
When I dug the background, you are in your early 40s. How are you bringing on board the elderly statesmen within the traditional setup so that you can get a holistic buy-in?
In every developed nation or in every society, the youth constitute more than 50% of the population. And in doing that, we know the elders who had passed through these stages, most of them have experiences. We are not going to leave them out. We know they are going to serve as advisors and they are going to assist the youth to develop. And I could tell you that we have the Osu Traditional Council and the elders of Osu who are mostly involved in whatever we are doing. And as part of the Omo activity, the elders, that's the traditional elders, are all involved and they know the activities we are doing for the youth.
Do you feel bad when people say Osu has become a hub for criminals? And how do you hope to weed out those who have taken advantage to be living in the enclaves, giving Osu a bad name?
Well, I will disassociate myself from the term that you use. We know Osu is a civilized town. In the history of the Gan State, everybody would say that Osu people are well endowed, very intelligent, very smart people. We don't have all criminals. And I could tell you on authority that our people are very responsible. The only thing that they lack now is direction and leadership. And that is what I'm bringing on board.
You'd realize that when we talk about Osu, apart from the indigents, we have several other people who are living on your land. What key issues are dear to your heart that you want to share with them tonight?
The people of Osu, anybody who knows Osu, we have a history. There's a term that is mostly used those days. We call it Osu Kadigbo. The meaning of the Kadigbo is the people who came to help the people of Osu. That's the aliens. We don't call them aliens. We call them our people, because when people come and they served you and they work with you to promote your town or to develop your town, we see them as brothers and sisters. We know people who are not indigenous of Osu have played a very big role in the development of Osu. That was in the past. And I can trace back history from Asmeni and others who came to help us develop Osu. So we are very grateful to all of them. And we believed in them. And we know that they will continue to assist us to develop the people of Osu. When we talk about businesses on our land, our ancestors gave lands to businesses, to people to develop so that we, the people of Osu, will benefit from those businesses. We know because of our difficulties and the challenges, we've not been able to harness those potentials. But I want to assure them that, especially the businesses on our land, in terms like this, that's the Omo Festival, we were expecting gifts and support from the businesses on our land. But it is becoming very difficult. But we want to say that we believe that next year, all the businesses on our land that we have given land to, so that their businesses will flourish, they must also make sure next year they will support us in our more activities. We have an agenda to redesign Osu, especially the downside, to rebuild apartments.
When you talk about the downside, which area are you?
Downtown, like it's going to the beach side. We know the housing system there is not the best. And under my administration, in collaboration with the other investors and then the government, we are going to redesign those areas so that we put up befitting accommodation and give them befitting accommodation. And also we have an agenda to build and develop a recreational center for the aged. Because we know after people working for a long time, when they are nearing their old age, they need to enjoy life. And it's part of my agenda to build a recreational center. And we'll try and build one and develop it so that we'll give glory to the old men.
Now, as we wrap up, and I want you to speak to the people of Osu and Ghanaians in general. You have been on the throne for less than a year. So far, so peaceful. And many people want to see you as the new face of the traditional council, something that is going to give them hope. What pledge are you making as we wrap up with this conversation?
Thanks so much. This question I would like to speak in Ghana so that my people will hear what I stand for. Osumambi, Imambi, Obawaye Afile, Niji Omo, Wale Akeshi, Mami Kanshi Din, because one or two issues here. Ni Akewuleje Court Akeshi, Akashani, Kenyebedon, Shabanya Fi, Shian, Kenibi, Fio. Me, Ke Mambi Fi Akeshi, Obomode, Koni, Nofiano, Nake, Afi, Ni Ma Cafe Gidigidi, Nyebamode, Nyeyano. Because wala Akeshi, Osume, ete school, na menye Egbele, na Meleni, was small be, wala Akeshi, what Bomode, what Comportu, wa through the processes of alo kejetani batanone. No nakano mi Kenya Kenya Bomode ni afino mo gidigidi wakaba mami. Ofino fiano, okay, ekome ke small mo because kake umo. That's the time for togetherness, the unity. Obomode no fiano ni homwe when no fiano ni fiti obomode wasa koni wasa afile komo bani na we ko ni ma edumoshi ni ma ekpe koni mambi ba na keshi no ko ba jese kwa ba ni mi dumoshi anye mi le akeshi nye yese nye support me nye la keshi nke no ko papa ba bosu cha omanye abra ofen.
Thank you, and we are grateful for this opportunity. That's how we wrap up Ideas Exchange tonight on TV XYZ. And of course, I told you we are having our conversation with the Osu Manche at the Secretariat. We are so grateful for the opportunity to be following you on your activities. And I believe that as and when we have anything to share with the public, we will do so. And thank you again for the opportunity. All right, to the producers and all those who have made this program successful, let's meet again next week.